Hello, thank you for joining me. I am coming to you today to discuss documentation you'll need when selling your home. Selling your home can be a bit challenging, especially if it's your first time. So I want to give you a few pointers as to what you would need documentation wise to get started. The first thing I want to discuss is a payoff. If you own your home free and clear, that's a wonderful thing. But if you don't own your home free and clear and you have a mortgage, the first thing that you will need to do is to obtain a 30-day payoff. When you contact your lender or your mortgage servicer and tell them you need a 30-day payoff, they'll know exactly what you're referring to. So just get a 30-day payoff, because you'll need this 30-day payoff to present to your real estate agent if you are using an agent, so that this agent can prepare a seller's net worksheet. And we'll get into that a little further in the video. The reason it's important to obtain a payoff is because most sellers assume that their principal balance left on their mortgage is the payoff, when the principal balance tells you exactly that, how much is owed on the loan. The payoff actually gives you interest from the date that you request the payoff through 30 days later. It also gives you a per diem interest calculation, so that you can calculate daily what the payoff would be from the end of your payoff, the 30-day payoff period, until you actually close. So having this information and being able to give it to your real estate agent is very important, because it helps you to determine exactly what you will net at closing. And at the end of the day, that's the most important goal, is to find out how much you're going to get in check, form, or wire at closing. The next documentation you'll need is your security deed or your warranty deed. And on your security deed or your warranty deed, it actually has your legal description. This is going to be advantageous for the agent, because they're going to need this documentation as an addendum to the contract. Your legal description tells you everything you need to know about your property. So that's your lot number, your deed number, the page, all of the information that you'll need legally for your legal description is on your security deed or your warranty deed. And sometimes it's a little difficult to locate that document, because if you've purchased your home more than 5 years ago, you'll probably have to dig for it. You may not necessarily need it, but it is helpful if you can find it for your agent. So now that you have your payoff and your legal description, the next piece of documentation that's going to be needed for you as the seller is a comparative market analysis, known as a CMA. A comparative market analysis will help you to determine how much you should list your home for. Now, what isn't 100% exact, because the real estate agent is not an appraiser. However, it will help you to narrow down and also to have an idea as to what's going on in the market. For example, properties that are for sale, properties that are pending, and also properties that have sold. The most important piece of the comparative market analysis is determining the properties that have sold. So generally, your real estate agent will look back 6 months, look at all the sales within a 1 mile radius, and then calculate and formulate that information into a workable spreadsheet for you, known as a comparative market analysis. And when I say spreadsheet, I don't actually mean a spreadsheet. It's more of an algorithm that helps you to decide and know what sales are in your area and the trend of the sale. It also tells you how long the property was on the market before it went under contract and before it sold. So it gives you a lot of information. It tells you also about active sales, so that you'll know what other sellers are listing their home for that are comparable to yours. A comparative market analysis is going to help you to see what other homes are selling for and on the market for in your area, and so that you can be able to know that you're listing your property for a competitive amount as far as the sales price. Now, while a comparative market analysis is important, it's also important for you to, if you don't want to leave any money on the table, to get an appraisal. If you want referrals, you can feel free to ask your agent. I'm sure your agent will be able to provide you with a list of appraisers. But to be accurate, to know exactly how much your property will be worth, it's really advantageous to get an appraisal. As I mentioned earlier in the video, a seller's net worksheet is very important to you as the seller because it actually sums up what you will pay out of pocket at closing, and it tells you how much you'll net. It is an estimate, but it's a fairly close estimate. For example, it has your payoff. It also has your, if you're contributing towards closing costs. If we're in the buyer's market, that would be more in line with the market, but in a seller's market, you may not necessarily have to pay closing costs. It also has your estimated closing costs as a seller. The seller does have some fees, not as much as a buyer, but the seller will have some closing costs. So once you calculate all that information, your agent will be able to tell you an approximate amount that you would be able to net at the closing table. So in layman's terms, it tells you how much money you can take to the bank. And at the end of the day, that's really important to know how much you are going to net. So to sum everything up, it is very important to have a payoff, which tells you how much you owe on your home, to also obtain your legal description. It makes it easier for your agent. To obtain a comparative market analysis, it gives you an idea as to how much you should list your home for. And lastly, to obtain from your agent a seller's net worksheet, because it tells you how much you'll be able to take to the bank. If this video has been helpful to you, please like, share, and subscribe for more real estate tips. Thank you for watching. Make it a great day.